And we're recording. Welcome everyone to Wisdom Class. This is 119. Can you believe it? Class 119. How did that even happen? Hello, John. I see you pop in there. I miss you, darling. And I just want to say that this is supposed to be a light, easy class. There's too much going on in the world. We're not going to talk too serious today. We're going to talk about dreams, which are amazing. And when you learn to analyze your dreams, it is so much fun because so much in your life starts to make sense. when you can start to when you can start to understand what your dreams actually mean. Katie, I did see you. Hello, waving. Okay, so let me pull up the PowerPoint and let's talk a little bit about dreams and what they actually mean. So I'll share my screen with you. Okay. So when it comes to dreams, we're just going to start out by talking about some of the obvious. All right. Some of the things that we already know, some of the things that is not earth shattering. So what is dreaming? And this is something that I think is really, we can get a lot deeper than what some people just say about dreams. So Sigmund Freud, of course, we're going to talk about him. He actually said it was believed to be the window into your subconscious. Okay, all right. So your dreams can be as mundane as just kind of recalling events that happened earlier in the day, or you can actually understand that many of your dreams are talking to you. They're communicating with you. It is the most incredible way for your guides to get a hold of you, your spirit guide. It is your higher self, your subconscious talking to you. And if you can understand that, dreams are going to become a little bit more important and a little more meaningful. They can be about your deepest, darkest fears. They can be about your deepest secrets that you can't even tell yourself. And they can be about even private fantasies that you have. There is absolutely no limit to what the mind can experience when it comes to a dream. So, when it comes into dreaming, dreaming is all about this 80% of what goes on within your being, 80% people, subconscious. It means that it's not as though you are consciously creating, or understanding what's going on underneath the surface. This could be that you have buried emotions or buried fears, and most likely is. It's things that you're not ready to tell yourself or not willing to tell yourself or not looking at. So many people stay in the brain, they stay in the mind, and they're chatter, 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 analytical thinking, processing, trying to figure it all out. All of these things are happening so often that what happens is that you don't give yourself enough time to feel what's going on under the surface. Under the surface, that 80% that's stuck in there, well, that has a lot to say. And so when you cannot understand it, consciously, your dreams are going to talk about it. Okay. So someone just private messaged me and said, well, what if you can't remember your dreams? Ah, that's a biggie. That there are many reasons why you wouldn't remember your dreams. Number one, too much substance. So it could be alcohol or pot, something like that. Okay. Too much caffeine. Things like that are going to affect your being able to remember. The other thing is that even if you can't remember your dreams, okay, even if you can't, please trust me that they're working. They're surfacing something in you that even if you don't remember it in the morning, you're going to all of a sudden kind of go, oh, I got to work on that. So let me give you an example. So let's just say that you're super insecure, okay? Or let's just say that maybe you're emotionally unavailable. Super insecure or emotionally unavailable. And you're like, I don't know why, I don't know why, I don't know why. And then you go to sleep and you have this dream of this old decrepit house and you're being chased in this dream, chased and chased and chased. And then in that dream, there's some type of experience that you go through that's going to help you to understand. Do you not realize that you're afraid of seeing what's inside of you? You're afraid of connecting. You're afraid to see the younger yous who got wounded in childhood, who were just innocent and beautiful. Do you not see that? Well, all of a sudden the next day, or sometime soon within that time, you're going to suddenly recall. Okay. And so that's interesting. Someone just put in the chat, I woke up 2 nights ago and was calling my own name. Exactly. You're calling to yourself. Again, what you can't see in your waking hours or what you cannot admit to yourself is what the dreams want to talk to you about. They can also be processing. If you're so busy, 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 and you're running all over the place and you don't settle down and give yourself time throughout the day to reflect, you're going to have to process in your dreams because you're not giving yourself any time to do it during the day. This is why self-care and quiet times are so important. But there can also be more to dreaming. Dreaming can also be communication, as I said already, with your higher self and guides. A lot of times we don't listen. And because we don't listen to our guides, because we're too much in our head, what happens is that the guides have to come into the experience of our dreams to say, okay, okay, you're not listening to us. So we're going to try to get your attention in your dreams. Okay. So here's what happens in your dreams. Your subconscious or your spirit guides or your higher self will use images and people and places and things and situations and symbols to be able to connect with you. Taking a dream literally is usually not a good idea. Okay, pretty much never going to be accurate. Okay, and again, as we already talked about, this could be buried subconscious, it could be unpleasant, or it could be pleasant. And there are many universal meanings to dreams. So we're going to talk about these universal meanings, and we're going to talk about some of the biggies. When you understand the basics of dreams, you're going to be able to do some good self-analysis. Recommendation: get a dream journal. Or sometimes I'll wake up at night and it's so profound that I just start recording in my phone everything that I remember, because by the time you wake up, you're going to forget. So if you wake up after a dream, right away record it, because again, as you go throughout your day, you won't remember. So dreams come in many, many different forms. You can have a daydream, you can have nightmares, you can have reoccurring dreams, prophetic dreams, life-changing dreams. God, I've had a lot of those. Visitations and lucid dreamings. Okay. Marissa actually says she used a voice recorder as well. And I think that's really good. That's what I use on my phone. I just start recording on my voice or my voice memos. And Socorro says, sometimes I have the feeling of something about to happen and then something does happen, like someone passing away. Right. Those are the prophetic dreams. Okay. And we're going to talk about those. We're also going to talk about visitations and lucid dreaming, what that actually means. So let's just kind of go through some of the obvious. And I really apologize for these graphics. I used the graphics from an old PowerPoint, and they had changed a lot of the graphics and now they're very grainy. So I have to go back and fix these. But when it comes to daydreams, this is our most, common, okay, because people are conscious of them. This is consciously creating scenarios that will actually perpetuate the ego. Okay, a lot of people think, well, I'm just off in daydreams. Well, it's actually most likely a perpetuation or enforcing a need of rightness, anger, the need to be understood, the need to be respected, which is why, maybe the 13-year-old girl might get into a situation of daydreaming that, well, when I get in a car accident and I'm paralyzed, everyone will then love me. Okay, that's a lot of the daydreams that go on. It's a perpetuation of the ego. When I die, they'll all regret it. Well, that's a perpetuation of the ego. Okay. Daydreams tend to keep us in safety. Okay. Very often they could be about monetary things like, oh, I wish I could win the lottery and have this, not realizing, okay, it's a product of an ego because you don't realize that you are very capable of manifesting what kind of monetary situation you want. Okay. It could be about your career, shelter, family, all those basic needs. Okay. But a lot of times we daydream because it allows us to escape and find peace. One of the things that I will recommend if you find yourself daydreaming Okay. If it's about something like brainstorming or inventing or creating, okay. But what about instead of daydreaming, you just sit quietly? When's the last time you just stopped your thought? When's the last time you allowed yourself to observe, look at a beautiful flower? Look at something so simple, a color, so you might look at just a color and you look at the color and say, wow, isn't that amazing? And try not to think about it, just observe it. Okay, so daydreams again can be very unhealthy in some ways. Now, I want to talk about these things. Nightmares. That's such a horrible picture. Nightmares are subconscious fear, anxiety, despair, sadness. Okay, it is a very natural mechanism, believe it or not. And it actually forces you to confront the truth about something you are hiding from your life or yourself. Or I do want to mention that sometimes they can be very prophetic. So I'm going to talk to you for just a moment about an experience. One afternoon, I'm about 26 years old, maybe 27. My daughter was like maybe 4 or 5 years old. And I was, so must have been about 28. I was really tired and I never nap, never. And I decided that I was going to go up and take a nap. And my husband was downstairs with my daughter. And all of a sudden, I saw in my dream, I saw this black or gray mist, and this gray mist started coming at me, and it had information for me. And I knew it, and I couldn't face the information. I couldn't face it. I couldn't face it. And I started screaming bloody murder, screaming at the top of my lungs. My husband and my daughter rush from downstairs and run upstairs and are like, what is going on? What? You never have a nightmare. What is happening? And I said, I can't talk about it. I can't talk about it. And I couldn't see what it was. And he finally said to me, Kelly, what is the worst thing that you could, what is the worst thing that could happen? Elizabeth would be hurt. Elizabeth would be hurt. My daughter couldn't see it yet. The next day, I'm in our sunroom and I'm cleaning the windows, and my daughter's riding her big wheel, and we live on this hill. And all of a sudden she waves to me and I wave to her, and I'm cleaning the windows, and she's on her little big wheel and she starts going down the hill. And I watch the neighbors in a big van not see my daughter starting to back into the driveway. And I started screaming bloody murder, just like I did in that dream. And I ran out and I'm screaming and screaming and screaming. And he stops and she's like at his wheels. And they told me, if you hadn't been screaming, I never would have seen this. I will never back in my driveway again. I'm so sorry. And my husband said, this was the scream you had last night. Again, sometimes our dreams could be very prophetic, even if we can't remember them or see them. They carry information. That was too much of a nightmare for me to be able to consciously see that my daughter could be harmed. She could be killed. But if it weren't for that dream, I don't think I would have been as vigilant. Okay, so let's continue. So sometimes those nightmare moments are really important for us. And so most of the time, there's nothing in the dream, again, that's literal. All right. So that brings us into something that a lot of people experience, which are recurring dreams. When you have dreams that are reoccurring, okay, there's some kind of storyline or line or theme, and usually it's of your human conditioning. It's something that you have to see, and this dream will repeat itself and repeat itself and repeat itself and repeat itself until you finish the lesson in life that is associated with it. It could be that you're avoiding something or you're just really not ready to learn the lesson yet, but somehow in your dreams, it's very present. Your subconscious knows it. Your subconscious is talking about it. Okay. And so these reoccurring dreams are more of something you need to pay attention to. And I think when I start to explain some of the analysis that you can go through dreams, it'll make more sense. I do, though, have to also mention the past life. Okay. Children very often will have night terrors, and night terrors that they have night after night after night are often a reflection of a past life death, of the way that they died in a past life. Okay. So, and also if maybe some people will see houses, and houses you're going to learn are really important. Houses and water, critical in dreams. And we'll talk about those. Okay. Houses, dream, or water and people. Okay. But some situations are of dreaming of a past life house. So sometimes that's the case. But reoccurring dreams typically become very important. And we're going to talk about how to analyze those reoccurring dreams. But before I move on, I do want to talk about prophetic dreams. Now, a really wonderful friend of mine, Evie, here has amazing prophetic dreams, but I do too. And these prophetic dreams are really talking about what is to come, or it is giving you information about a very big, huge situation that your brain can't even comprehend. So usually these prophetic dreams are there to use your intuition to speak to you in your dreams. Many of you may recall the deep chat, not the one that I just did in December, but the one that I did a little while back. The deep chat that I talked about the 5 prophetic dreams that I had about what's going on in the world right now. And one of those was about elephants dying. And I didn't know that, 350 elephants had just died. Well, I saw that in my dream. They had talked about the elephants dying and the meaning behind it. So prophetic dreams are very, very different. If you are having a visitation, which I'll talk about too, or a prophetic dream, they are not like other dreams. You will remember fine, fine, acute detail. Fine. Okay. You will be able to talk about the details of those dreams. The prophetic dreams feel different too. You have more consciousness in those dreams, where a regular dream that's talking about your subconscious, it's gonna feel normal. You're gonna wake up and you're like, yep, that was a dream. Even if it's a nightmare, you're gonna have this normal sense to it. Prophetic dreams don't feel that way. Okay, visitations don't feel that way. You wake up and you will know that there was something profound that you dreamt of, and you will remember that dream forever, forever. So I have a comment here, and this is a direct message to me, so I won't say the name. But this person says, back in November, I had a dream where I had backed my car up accidentally into a deep ditch of snow and landed at the very bottom of the snow covered, and the snow covered the car. At that very second, I felt like I knew this is it. I'm going to find out what happens when I die. I'm done. And I woke up in a panic. A few weeks later, I had a car accident with my 7-week-old in the car. We're okay, she said, but the car was totaled, and we landed in a deep ditch. She said, minus the snow. She said, relation or not, I'm not sure, but it was really deep in the emotion of it. I mean, okay, that's a prophetic dream. It's those things where you remember the minute detail and they feel different. You wake up and you're like, something rattled you, something is really big. Okay. Kieran talks about how she constantly dreams about her maternal grandmother's house, that she said, I visited it as a child, and all good memories are there, but my dreams are always about that house. So this is really important, and I'm glad that you brought that up, because houses, they're going to have multiple meanings. One of the things about houses, what you're dreaming about, because it's an actual house, if it's an actual house, you want to ask yourself, what does that house represent to me? And as you said, it was a safe space. So you have to know that your subconscious is saying to you, I need a safe space when you dream about that house. Okay. Actual houses, like I said, are different. They're either going to be past life or they're going to have some representation. So it's not, whether you're actually going back to that house because that's a safe space for you or not. You could be, lucid walking in your sleep. You could actually just be dreaming because you need safety. Okay. Many times we have really deep, life-changing dreams. And I mean, these can be deep. This means that there's an active time of transformation for you. There's something really big that's going to be happening in your life. And just like prophetic dreams, and visitation dreams, life-changing dreams are huge. Okay, you can have they basically are going to communicate to you a life-changing experience that you're going to be going through. So what I put down is just a reminder for me to talk to you about one of the dreams. So I'm going to share a dream quickly, but it was huge. This was about a year before I came here. And in this dream, I was going to go on this big journey. This was before I knew I was ever coming to Europe. I was going to go on this great big journey. Okay. And in this great big journey, I was at this kind of hostel, and I was going to be going I don't know, on this big trip. So I go to this like old fashioned, like something out of Raiders of the Lost Ark tavern that night. That's half indoor, you know, kind of have the trees in the area, and like a German beer garden. Okay, so so I go to this place, and this man was there, and actually the man in my dream is on this call right now. See if you can figure him out. So in this dream, this man comes out who I had never met in life, but I met him now. And he comes out, and he's like, ha ha ha, to everybody there, and everyone was there to celebrate me going on this journey, and everyone's like, yeah, and he's like, ah, aha, and I'm like, what is he doing? And he comes out with this great big black snake, and he's like, ha ha, and he holds the black snake up, and everyone's cheering, and I'm over there going, oh my God, I have a backpack. Tell me he's not going to bring that snake to me. I can't go on a journey with a snake. What am I going to do? Put it in my backpack? And then I'm like, ah, crap, you better take the snake. So I'm like, okay, I'll accept the snake. So I open my hands to accept the snake, and the snake turns into oil, and it runs up into this tree. And I look up in the tree, and it's a huge black panther, and it jumps down, and it's in front of me, and it's terrified. And it's like, what? And I'm like, no, it's okay. You're safe. You can come with me. And we go on this long journey together, and we're fast friends. And I'm remembering every detail of this dream. So as we go on this journey, we're climbing up this massive amount of rock, and it's really hard, and we get almost to the top, and I'm like, whoa, that's a very narrow piece of rock we're going to get through. And the panther says to me, you can carry me on your back. And I'm like, I can't carry you on my back. You're huge. And he's like, you can carry me on your back. I'm like, I cannot carry you on my back. And I start going up in between this rock face. And I climb to the top of the rock face, and I'm just about to step out onto the ledge. And I said to him, you're on my back, aren't you? And we get to the top, and he jumps off my back, and he said, Kelly, I've always been on your back. And he looked at me, and he's like, you don't need anyone else to make you happy, just you. And you have the courage to do it. Waking up, this is one of the things I'm going to share with you, a book that is going to help you in this interpretation. Animals are huge in a dream. If you are offered a especially black snake in your dream, okay, or any snake, if you are offered a snake in your dream, the snake represents your journey or your path. The man in that dream who offered me the snake is my now what do you call you, Helmut, a colleague, a boss, you know, but his picture, wave Helmut and say hello. This is the man who is in my dream. Okay, he's got compassion as his name. And so I had never even met him, yet he was there offering me this snake, which is my journey. Snakes represent your journey. And if you don't accept the snake, you're not ready to move fully on your journey. Okay, you're not ready to move fully on your path. If you are killing the snake, you're terrified of it. You know, if you run away, you're terrified, you're not ready. But when you finally accept your snake, you are going to know that you are ready to move on your path. Black panthers represent courage, deep inner courage. And that was exactly what the Black Panther said to me at that moment, and then delivered that very important message. You don't need anyone else to make you happy. So you can see that, especially, I wanted to share that story because the snakes and the animals in our dreams are huge. Okay, I'll share a book and a resource at the end of today so that you can start to really look up some great things. Actually, it's actually my my Bible, not to be to blaspheme, but okay. So, private message to me says, "Are prophetic dreams about something our guides are telling us will or may happen, or can they reflect the past too?" If it's reflecting the past, it could be your guides just communicating with you about something that you need to know now. If you don't need to know about it now, you're not going to see it. Okay. Anything in your dreams is important for you to pay attention. We don't just have random dreams. Okay. We're processing something. Okay. And Sakura said, "Is that your husband?" No, I do not have a husband. This is my boss. So he is married to a very lovely woman, Evie, the one woman who I mentioned earlier. Okay, so somebody is asking about the book, so I will get it before the end of the PowerPoint. Hold on. This is the book that I find is the most effective, and it's Animal Spirit Guides. And even though it talks about them as guides, the information in here is really good. So this is by Stephen D. Farmer. Okay, really, really good book. It has thousands and thousands of animals. I mean, look at it's packed. So pretty much everything that I need to understand, if I don't know what the animal means, I can look it up here. Now, remember that dreams are speaking mainly in symbols, not literal. Okay, so clearly I'm not going to be going and meeting a panther or having a black snake. I can guarantee you that Helmut has never given me a black snake. Thank you very much, Helmut. I appreciate that. So, but, but in my dream, it became very important. Okay, so when we look at these at prophetic dreams, again, they're mostly talking about very active transformation. Okay, you can also yeah, I think I would just pay attention to that piece, the active transformation. Visitations. Very often when people pass on, we are visited by them in our sleep. The Inner Wisdom Circle, who many of you are a part of, and if you're not, please join us on Facebook. We're a wonderful group of very supportive, loving people. That's also where I post my classes typically. So, but I used to have retreats, a yearly, started a yearly retreat. After the first retreat, a woman decided to travel across country to come to the retreat. She died on the way home. And it broke my heart, and I never had a retreat again. And I felt very responsible for her passing because she came to a retreat that I had organized. And one evening in my dream, right after this happened, she came to me in my dream, and I was in a different dream, and she came in and she's like, "Can you come out of your dream? I need to talk to you." And I was like, "Yeah." Yeah, and I walked into this room, this dark room with a window, and these curtains were billowing out like you see in the picture. And then I was like, I went back into the other dream, and she's like, "No, I need you to come in here. I need to communicate with you." And I'm like, "I'm sorry." And I came back into the room, and I said, "Okay, I'm here." And then I was quite conscious in my dream. That's called lucid dreaming, when you become conscious in your dream. And she's like, "Kelly, it wasn't your fault." And she said, "I have to go now, but it wasn't your fault. It was time for me to go." And she's like, "I'm going to go through that window now, and it's going to be okay." And she did. And that dream allowed me to let go of my guilt that somehow I had harmed this woman by holding a retreat. And it was very, very beautiful and very important. Sometimes too, and I have had this before too, where your guides will communicate in your sleep. Camping with a very good friend of mine, Eli, and Eli and I were just friends, and we I came into the tent after him from camping, and everybody else was still up, but started to fall asleep, and he said, "Kelly, what are you saying?" And I'm like, What are you talking about?" And I had been talking to someone, and he's like, "Kelly, who's in the tent?" And I'm like, "What?" And he's like, "Who's in the tent?" And I wake up, and I'm like, "It was my guide." And he's like, "Kelly, I could hear him. I thought you were having some kind of booty call in the tent." I'm like, "I don't have booty calls in the tent, especially with you next door." And and he said, "Kelly, I heard his voice. I heard him speak and you answered him back. And he said, and you didn't want him to go. And you were saying, don't leave. And he's like, I have to go. And you were saying, don't leave. So here is somebody who actually heard a conversation between my guide and I. And in that dream, my friend could actually hear him. Very bizarre, but sometimes bizarre things happen. So let's talk a little bit about lucid dreaming then, because as I said, that was lucid. And when I was with the woman who passed, that was also lucid. But before I do, let me just answer a couple of comments here. Marissa is asking, what is the book again? I'm going to show it at the end. I'll show you a picture of it at the last slide. I've got the picture of it so you can write it down then. So Kimberly and Michael, hello, Kimberly and Michael. Kimberly, nice to see you here. And she says, last night I dreamed of a cow upside down, a fish in a jar that was too small, and turtles in a small space without its shell. Oh, this is actually about the bigness of you. Okay, so this is this is actually talking about your it's talking about you and not realizing how big you are as a soul. It's really what this is about. So you can look up the cow and the fish and the turtles in the book, but I can tell you that one of the things that just from what I know about dreams, this is talking because you're talking about too small of spaces. Okay, too small, it's too small for you. Your soul is too big, but there's going to be particular messages based on those three animals. Okay, so this person says, I had a visitation from my grandmother on my 17th birthday after 10 years. Someone told me that she's one of my guides. Wow. Yeah. And very often grandparents become our guides. Two of mine did. Well, a great grandparent and a grandparent. That's beautiful. And I love that she visited you. And Fergie or Mike says, a recent dream, I was provoking my estranged brother-in-law to punch my face, speaking his actions hurt as much as he might as well. Oh, his words hurt as much as anything else. At the last second, his anger changed from wanting to strike to wrapping his arms around me and giving a giant blubbering hug. That's huge, knowing the situation with your brother-in-law. So actually very, very huge. And your subconscious telling you about what is really going on. He actually admired you. And that's what that dream is really talking to you about, which I'm sure you've kind of figured out already. So, and I would also say there's a little bit of jealousy in there. Okay, not behind most hate is not hate. Okay, lucid dreaming, guys. This means that you actually become conscious in your dream. It means that you can actually control the outcome or direction of the dream. It means that you're like, this is just a dream. I don't want that to happen. Let's have this happen. And you change your dream very consciously. And what happens is that typically you cannot lucid dream until your ego in human life has been tamed enough so that you can be present in all aspects of yourself. It's hard to be present in the subconscious if you're still hiding from your subconscious. If your subconscious says, I'm not good enough, or I'm not big enough, or what if this happens? You're not going to be able to get into your dreams and lucid dream well, because you're actually entering into your subconscious state and saying, let's play with this a little bit. Even the spirit being able, and this is not the first time a spirit has come into my dreams to wake me up. There have been multiple times where they're like, wake up. And I actually had to one time force myself to wake up and there was someone in my room. Okay. And so it was very important that I woke up. And so it was this, you're able to actually either go in and wake yourself up or somebody comes in to wake you up. But again, that's part of lucid dreaming that cannot really happen if your dreams are reserved for you working through what you're not able to see during the day. Okay. So 4 more comments. So let's see what the chats are saying. Let's see. The other night, my husband woke me up because I was screaming. In my dream, a man was coming toward me and my husband, toward me and my husband and I, and he wanted to hurt us. I was paralyzed in my dream until my husband woke me. Yet sometimes dreams can be very paralyzing, but remember that even a nightmare is giving you information. And so one of the things you want to ask yourself in a dream like this is to say, okay, When the man was coming, how did I feel about the man? What did the man represent? And we're going to talk about the people. People represent things. They're usually not literal. Okay. So even if, and I'll talk about this when we get to people, but this is going to make a little bit more sense to you when we talk about people. So I'll come and circle back around to that comment. So the next person interestingly just said, could you feel your body paralyzed during lucid dreaming? There are times when I needed to come in and wake myself up because there was a presence in my room. I remember going, wake up, wake up, wake up. And I couldn't move. And I was like, and I actually had to go, ah, and I finally screamed myself awake. I could barely move, but I made myself, okay, because I knew that I had to wake up, and I woke up and there was a presence in my room, okay? So yes, very often there's a situation where you are aware, but you're unable to move, okay, because your body isn't ready to wake up yet. Okay, John says, can you invite people into your dreams prior to sleep? What you're going to be inviting in is a communication about that person. They can actually, if they are very good also at lucid dreaming, they can also come in. And people have said that to me before. The day before your sessions, I see you in my dream. I feel you when I wake up, you know, because they're thinking and feeling. And when people think or feel, I can feel them all the time. If I'm in my kitchen doing dishes, I'm like, oh, so-and-so needs me to call them. And I send a message like, I was just thinking of you. Yeah, I know, I heard you. Okay. Same thing in the dreams. Okay. So, all right, so let me get back into this. And I want you guys to think of, we're going to go through now some of the understanding what dreams mean. So get your pen and paper handy because these are going to be fun. I want you to think of a dream that you had, any kind of dream. And if you can't remember any dream at all, you can actually talk to your body to say, let's remember our dreams. Let's remember. But what happens is if you're too much in your analytical thinking and during the day, chatter, 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 a lot of times when you sleep, the body has so much to process, you're not going to remember them. You're going to be going through things a lot and very quickly in your sleep. So the more you can learn to quiet your mind during the day, the more dreams you're going to remember. I pretty much remember a dream a night, if not many dreams. Okay, but I also work very hard to keep myself conscious. Now, first thing you need to remember in analyzing these dreams, be careful not to take things literal, okay? So if you had a dream where you were having sex with, let's say, you know, your sister's husband, okay, don't think that you're a bad person and that that's what you want to do. Sex doesn't mean that in a dream. Very, very, very rarely does it mean actual sex unless you're incredibly deprived and you're trying to satisfy yourself, okay? Other than that, it really is saying that you want to learn something or connect more with that person or a person like that. And we'll talk about people in a moment, okay? So don't take things literal. Don't do guilt from dreams. If you have a terrible dream where you did something terrible, it's not literal, okay? Now, one of the biggest things that we need to understand when kind of diagnosing through dreams is what houses mean. Houses, vehicles, and buildings are you. Okay, please don't argue with me about it. They are. Unless, again, it's a house you already know and you're visiting it, that means that the house represents something to you or a past life dream. Okay. Now, when you dream about houses, you want to pay attention. What does it feel like? What does it look like? Is it dark? Is it decrepit? Is it light and airy? Is it open? Does it feel constricted? Or is it dirty? Is it fancy? What is the state of it? Is it a high rise? Is it a single story? Okay, what is this house? Now, here are some specifics. Upper rooms in a house are going to depict aspects of the places inside of you, okay? So, so basically, I want you to feel into, well, we'll get to the top. Top floor equals your head, okay? So things like that. Back doors are your legs, okay? When we look at this, you can really understand that when it comes to front doors actually indicate your arms. Attics represent repressed thoughts. Lightning or electrical issues can be a neurological issue in the body. Water, we're going to talk a lot about, but water or plumbing or flooding in a house, that's emotion. Okay. Searching for a key is basically you cannot find the clue to either your wellness or the clue to your emotional healing, which is wellness. Okay. You can't find the key. You don't know how to solve something. You don't know how to move through it. Okay. When you're protecting something in a house, like a treasure or something, this can also mean repression at the root of an illness. Every illness is a representation of what you think and what you feel. So if what you think or you feel and you're not paying attention to it, sometimes the house in your dream will have an issue. Okay. And so when we look at that, sometimes you're repressing the issue. If you see like you're protecting something, you don't want to see it, don't want to see it. Okay. So again, houses are huge. You're going to know how you feel about you based on the state of the house or the building or the car. Now, water. Oh, it's huge. It is huge. I have a lot of water dreams. Okay. And they represent emotion or the state of the world emotion, what's going on. I've had a lot of flooding dreams lately of the whole world. And because we're all cleansing. So you want to, again, just like the house, you want to pay attention to the quality, the motion, the color of the water, because it depicts your emotional state in that dream. Okay. It can be very cleansing. The dreams that I've had recently of the entire world flooding like Noah's Ark is that of cleansing. Okay. Not that we're going to go through it's not literal. We're not going to all flood. Okay. But you want to pay attention to feelings that you have when you're in this water or by this water, because it's indicating a emotion for you. Okay, is it turbulent? Is it calm? Is it a sunny day? Is it a dark, stormy day? Is the water all murky and green? What is it like? Okay, again, I've got lots of comments here, so let me see if I can get to them as we go through. Rachel, hi Rachel. She says, sometimes I have a dream that feels so real and I have to do something that I can't do on the physical world. Like I'm underwater and need to breathe and physically in this world, I stop breathing because I think I'll drown. But then I breathe and I can breathe in the water. Yay. She said, how do I get it better at realizing I'm in a dream so that I can do the impossible without hesitation? It will come as you start to heal your younger selves, as you start to heal the trauma that you've gone through or the experiences in this life. When you heal your insecurity and self-doubt, that's what those transition time classes are for. They help you heal that. And that's what my sessions are for. They help you heal that. Okay. So getting in and the more that you heal, the more you're going to start to lucid dream or be able to understand in your dreams, you're fine. You can breathe. You're fine. Okay. And then you're going to go back into the dream and you're going to have a little bit more control. Chow says, I have a recurring dream about mansions. In the dream, I'm always shocked by how nice it is. Okay. Chow. Okay. You know that saying right there that you know that you're a grand, beautiful, big old soul. That's what it's saying. And you're shocked by it. She said, in real life, I think of myself as nothing special. I know. What have I been telling you for years? You're amazing. You're this amazing, brilliant soul. And here's your subconscious trying to communicate with you. Do you not see? That's amazing. Rosemary says, what does it mean if you're trapped in the house and trying to get out? That means that you feel that you're stuck inside of the body. It could have to do with weight. Okay, your physical appearance, you want to get out, or maybe you're like, I don't want to be in this human experience anymore. Okay, please stay. We really love you. And but it could also mean that I don't like what I'm feeling inside this human experience, and I want out. Okay, that's what you're saying in this experience. Okay, if you're trapped in the house and you're trying to get out, that means you feel trapped by yourself. Something in you is trapping you. Okay. Thank you guys. I love your examples. They help so much. So again, houses, water, what's going on? People, guys, are aspects of you. Okay. And so when people come into the dream, very often you think that there's something outside of you that's going to hurt you. No, you're actually afraid of yourself. Okay. The other thing that can happen is that people will come in who represent a characteristic of a person who you're trying to work through. Okay. So let me give you an example. Lately, I've been dating again, and I've been dreaming and dreaming and dreaming and dreaming of my one and only pure love, and that was my ex-husband, my high school sweetheart. And he comes into my dream not because I want to date him. I don't want to date him. He's remarried. We're friends. We have nothing in common anymore. But he comes into my dreams in his high school state and shows me what I need to see. And it's beautiful and it lovely, and it reminds me that I'm safe in relationship. It's okay. And it's wonderful. Okay. So it's not about my ex-husband. It's about what he represents to me. He was pure, beautiful love. Okay. But we had to go like this. It was very necessary. Okay. So here's some examples. And then I've got a bunch of more comments here. A boss in your dream would represent stability. Okay. Or maybe your boss is not stable. Maybe your boss is a jerk and maybe he represents a really horrible person. Okay. Or maybe he represents pressure. Okay. Your ex-boyfriend, like I said, could be true love, right? That he represents, not that you're really dreaming about him. Grandmothers might mean nurturing. An acquaintance might mean a crazy person. Okay, but here's what you want to do when people enter your dreams. Reflect immediately. What does that person represent to me? Oh, they're super wise and they seem to have it all together and really balanced. Well, there you go. Why did that balanced, wise person come into your dream who seems to have it all together? What is he reflecting then when you look at the rest of the dream? Are you in a building together? Is there water? What else is going on? Okay, so remember, the people don't take them literal. They represent. Okay, so let me get these comments. Let's see. Da, da, da. What does it mean if you're trapped in the house? So I'm sorry. Rosemary said that. She said that was actually my daughter's question, but thank you. Okay, daughter, that's what that's telling you. So this is a private message to me. So I love that this person is really excited because he can actually see some beautiful things happening in him. I love that. But you said that privately to me, person, so I won't say it out loud. Okay, let's look at a few more things. You know how many people are terrified when either you're about to die or somebody else dies in the dream? Very seldom do I get death dreams as prophetic dreams. Okay, usually death dreams are talking about an ending or a new beginning. As one of the recent dreams I had was an ex-boyfriend who just, I mean, really just caused me a lot of pain. But I had loved him, for about 5 years, no, about a year and a half, maybe about a year and a half. But we were, friends for about 5 years. And I'd always felt he just brought me so much pain, so much pain. And recently, again, ex-husband in the dream, we're driving down this beautiful, open, windy, sunny road. Everything is wonderful. It's dry. There's no emotion. Okay. And it's just like I said, open freedom. And I'm leaning against this person with my feet up on the dash. And all of a sudden we ran over my ex-boyfriend. And I woke up going, oh my God. And I said to him in my dream, I said, you killed so-and-so. And he's like, I did? And I'm like, yeah. And it was really important because it wasn't that he was going to die. It wasn't that I want him dead. Again, don't be literal. What I knew immediately, because of the rest of the state of the dream, is that I was ready to move on from him. It's a new beginning and an ending of what I felt, all the pain that I felt from him. And it's a new beginning for me. Okay, do you see how that works? So death, not a bad thing. Okay, running or being chased in your dreams really means that you're running from or avoiding seeing, hearing, or understanding something within you. Okay, it's always about you. Okay, so the running is about you feeling like I can't face this thing in me. All right, moving is good. If you're packing up everything, don't think you're going to go buy a house and move. It's not telling you that unless you know it's a prophetic dream. Okay. But like I said, you will know prophetic dreams. They are very different than regular dreams and you will feel it. Moving means that you're ready to leave the past behind. Okay, when you're packing things up in boxes and shipping them off, that's a good thing. Okay, you're ready to let it out. When you take a key and unlock a door and open it, you're ready to see something amazing. You're ready to see something within you. And most likely that next day, whether you remember the dream or not, or all aspects of it, you'll probably go, oh, I really need to let that part go. Oh, there's something I need to heal. Okay. School. School's kind of obvious. We're here learning life lessons. So school is all about learning in ourselves. Okay. So if you're in a classroom and you are naked in the classroom, it means that you're ready to be vulnerable. Okay. And if everybody's laughing at you, it means that you're afraid of your own vulnerability. Okay, you're afraid of being seen and being vulnerable. It's not about your anxiety, it's not literal. Okay, tests are really about things that we still need to learn. They're not a final culmination. If it was a final culmination, you'd be moving or opening a door or having a death or, getting a snake. Okay, there's something big that would be happening. Forests, by the way, if you're going into the forest, you're going into your subconscious pretty deep. All right, here's some more. Paralysis. Okay. A lot of times, if you're in your dream and you're going through paralysis, there could be two different things. Okay. It could be the stage of REM and where you're not ready to wake up. And if you're kind of trying to wake yourself up in your dream, you'll feel like you're paralyzed. Okay. But it also can show that you feel like you have a lack of control in your life. Now, maybe you got a spirit in there and it's holding you down on the bed. I've heard of people having that happen. I have not had that happen, so I can't speak of it. I can't speak to that part. We're only talking about dreams, okay? So let's stick with the dreams and just kind of look at the paralysis, okay? Again, is I can't move. I have no control in my life. Flying, amazing. Oh, if I had some amazing flying dreams. It can show that you have control. It can show that you're ready to soar and you're ready to fly and you are taking control of your own destiny. Okay, that's what flying can mean. Okay, falling. Ooh, now if it's a slow fall is again an act of letting go. But if you're falling uncontrollably and it's terrifying in your dream, you're feeling out of control in your life. Okay. So flying shows control. Paralysis or falling uncontrollably is really showing lack of control. You don't feel like you have control. Now, as I said already, nudity equals vulnerability, but body parts exposed can give you more insight into the emotion being exposed, okay? So different parts of the body mean different things. Now, that's a whole other class. So that would take a lot to go into, but different parts of the body will represent different things. There's a book, let's see, Louise Hay wrote a book that I think would be really good for analyzing what parts of the body mean. Okay, because there's a lot to it. That would be a whole entire other class. Babies, guys, doesn't mean you're pregnant. It could, but most likely not. It's usually a new idea, a new project, a new potential, or new growth. Now, if you are dreaming of a particular person as a baby, like you know who the baby is, like very often I will dream of my daughter as a baby, which is representing innocence. Okay, innocence. But different babies will, if you know who they are, will represent different things. You have to ask yourself, what does that baby represent to me? Okay. Now, food. Food, of course, is energy, but it can also be knowledge and nourishment, and it's usually related to thoughts and emotions. Okay, so when you're eating something in your dream or drinking something in your dream, it's like, what are you nourishing yourself with? What are you doing? Are you being good self-nourishing? Are you eating lots of fruits and vegetables in your dream, or are you eating pizza and drinking beer? Probably not so healthy. Okay, so it's saying, how are you treating your body? How are you treating yourself? How are you treating your thoughts and your emotions? Are you talking bad to yourself? Food will indicate that for you. Okay. So again, sex, we've already talked about that it can just mean an intimate connection with self or others, or that you want to emulate what they represent. Okay, you want to connect with them further and almost like join with them in a way. Okay, sometimes it could be because you're just really horny. Okay, it could just be that, but most likely it's something different. Okay, and we've already talked about animals. Clothing is interesting. It's how we see ourselves as being seen by others, which is also an indicator of our own self-worth. How do you think others see you? If you're, dressing like a pauper, then you think others see you as a pauper or a poor person. Okay? If you're totally shallow and blingy and with your pink long nails and things like that, then you're going to think that people see you as shallow. Okay? So pay attention to what the clothes are. In your dream, if you can't talk. Now, this is different than if you're in a REM sleep and you're trying to wake up and you can't talk. That's different. This is in the dream, you're mute. Okay, you're a mute. Okay, that means that you have a fear of your own opinions. You have a fear of speaking your truth, or maybe you feel that your voice isn't even heard. Maybe you feel like people don't listen. Okay, and that's usually because you can't speak in your dream. Now, driving, huge. The car again can be yourself, okay? But it can also just be that you're in the car. So in my dream that I explained, I was a passenger in the car, okay? But so basically I was going on a ride. I was kind of with a man, right, who was safe and who was loving. And I remember in the dream, he even kissed the top of my head, and it was very safe and loving. So it was a loving, safe experience. It can very often says, how are you navigating through life? And at this point in my life, I feel very open and very free. And I feel that relationships can be beautiful for me. And so it's, how are you navigating? Okay. If you're driving sporadically, going off the edge of a cliff, if you're getting into car accidents, those are indicators about you. The movement of the vehicle is about you. Okay. And I know we are at time. This is the last page. Few more things. Elevators. Going down is negative, going up is positive. Kind of obvious. Giants means that you have insurmountable struggles in your life. Guns are indicating that you need to protect, or anxiety, you have anxiety. Okay. It could also be masculine aggression or male genitalia. And it could also be that, the firing of a gun is sometimes an act of sexual gratification. And that kind of seems obvious too, doesn't it? Anyway, money is about, it dreams about a lack of money can be manifestations not about money itself, but about low self-worth. Dreaming of having lots of money symbolizes that you feel that you have power and control. Okay. If you are dreaming about UFOs, you really want to know what your life purpose is. And weather is all about your mood. Okay. This is the book. Sorry about the grainy picture again. It's terrible, but it's there. This is the book on animals that you can talk about. And again, the woman who writes about associations of body parts is Louise Hay. Okay, like Hay House Publishing, that is hers. So I'm going to hang on for just a few more minutes, and let's just see what kind of questions we have, or if you have any. No more comments. So you're welcome to unmute and ask questions if you'd like. Anyone? Anyone? Did I blow you away with all this information? Is your head spinning? Yeah, it was a lot, isn't it? But when you can start to get the basics down, start with these basics. And when you get these basics down, then all of a sudden you're going to understand so much more about what your dreams are telling you. And I just saw my daughter is here for the first time in one of my classes. Welcome, daughter, to class number 119. I'm so glad you finally arrived. So she's down at the bottom. Elizabeth Melker is my daughter, and she just put the little heart on her screen. So, okay. Comments, thoughts, questions. What do you think?
I was telling my sister the other day about 2 to 3 years before I even got with my current fiance, that I had it was a dream. I knew it was a dream. And I thought to myself, what the heck? I actually remember his house, everything that went on the first time I was over there, the stories he told me, everything was the same as the dream.
Oh, so you had a prophetic.
Is that there is a little statue in his house that's like a little vagabond, and it's all made of metal. And I asked him straight up that morning, in reality, like, that's the vagabond. He says, how did you know that? Because it was like right evident. And and I said, well, I already been here. I already did all of this with you.
Yeah.
And he says, yeah, I pretty much, he felt the same way, because he says, yeah, I remember this too. And it's weird because the house was set up pretty much the same, except for in the living room, the the paintings he had were exact same, but not on the right, on the certain walls that it was when I went there physically, but they were still the same things. So I've had quite a few of those during my lifetime, where stuff like that would happen, and other stuff, especially for dreams, but
Right.
not as in my later years, just more in my early years, although it still happens once in a while.
So this is wonderful. I mean, this means that you're really moving into a good place. If you're having prophetic dreams, that it says you a lot about your intuition. And again, the more you go through healing in the human experience, the more profound these dreams will become for you. That's wonderful.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
thank
that recent one.
thanks for sharing that. So Rosemary says, it's my daughter's question again, but what does it mean to hide from people? If you're hiding from people, you want to feel into what the people represent. And if it's just people in general, that means that you're hiding yourself. You don't want to be seen. There's something about your self-esteem that you need to work through. There's something that is that you're feeling like you're in comparison with them. You're feeling judged. Okay, Micheline has to go. She said, have a great day, everyone. Bye, Micheline. Okay, anyone else comments? Okay, well, I'm going to leave it right there then, because this is a lot of information, but it was a lot of fun. So good to see you all here. Dom, I just saw you made it. Wonderful. And Charles, nice to see you. Shalini, nice to see you. Sammy, thank you for coming. Okay, so everyone, have a fantastic day, and I will put this recording up on the Inner Wisdom Circle on our Facebook page. Ciao, ciao, everybody.